All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. We are here set to go with Coy and Mclagging. I am Dazed Cloud. I'll be one of your commentators today. I'm joined in the booth tonight by Spy Weaver.
Good evening, everybody. How are we doing tonight, Dazed?
Can't complain here. Got a nice cup of tea. I'm ready to go and watch me some rando.
Sounds pretty good to me. Tonight, we got the first matchup for you here in the winner's side of Group C. Koi, who is the first seed going in, against Mclagging, the second seed. Both of these two runners won their first round matchups 2-1. And I believe we also do have the second match of their run that'll come up shortly thereafter from the first run.
Yep, we've got a doubleheader tonight, so get yourself nice and comfortable, and let's get some. We should be getting going in just a couple of seconds here. Anything special you're hoping to see there, Spy?
Not specifically for this one. I would like to see one, I guess you could say, that has a little bit more of the execution, so we can see, just which one of these two players, mechanically is better instead of a trolley seed or a search for an item seed. That's just me after the way this tournament's been going so far.
Oh, I am 100% on your side there. Anything that is not an ice rod or a medallion, I am 100% behind. Let's have a nice clean race today instead of something completely insane. But we'll see.
Exactly. You don't want to burn either of these runners out too soon, especially since, like you said, we do got that double header coming up right after their first run here. So if we're going to do anything trolley, let's kind of save that until later on for their second run.
Yeah, exactly. Right when their brain has already turned to mush, and at that point, things are just funny.
That would be definitely entertaining. Good news is the winner of this run, this session, does get to move on to the bracket stage. The loser, however, has one more chance to make. And we are off, it looks like. Both of our runners starting in Link's house. We have 50 rupees hanging out in the chest there.
It looks like Koi is going to go down and buy some bombs from the little bomb shop down here at the end, while Mclagging is going to go do the traditional uncle start.
Koi takes it.
Floating island there just has a piece of heart.
I watched a little bit of Koi on this stream, and this is something different than what I've seen him usually do. But I guess since it is group stage and it is the winner's side of this group, I've got to do something a little bit different to get yourself that advantage. Looks like he's actually going to Eastern Palace.
I tend to favor this move occasionally. If you get that early 50 drop in, an early large rupee drop in Link's house, sometimes it is good to get over to Eastern quickly, at least to Sasharala. See if you find something big that can put yourself in an advantage early.
And speaking of which, we have the ice rod hiding out back there in Sasharala's closet.
Well, there's one of the trolley items taken away here. Hopefully, we might be able to get our wish.
We might have a quick seed here. First round of this one is going to be a 7 of 7, just a regular open Ganon here. If they do want to change any of the settings, the loser of the match does have the choice to change one specific setting for the next round.
Right, we had a quick map check there. It looked like we had a red pendant up on Hera, and I believe that was a 5/6 crystal over on Easter. Lagging's making his way through the Lost Woods. Hasn't really found anything of value yet. Koi's going down south, so we've got some great divergence so far.
Definitely not something you see all too often, getting this much divergence this early on into the seed. It keeps us on our toes.
Mclagging saved and quit there. He seems to be doing the newish meta route, and he's going down to the lake shop to buy some bombs now as well. Both runners are kind of avoiding Kakariko, which is not a normal thing. Koi is going for the desert check at the moment. Wow, this is a very unique start so far.
unique indeed, but I'm definitely liking it. Seeing something a little bit different here than what you should or usually are used to. It gives us a little bit of variation.
Definitely here. Well, I guess that does mean that Mclagging will pick up their ice rod, and we'll get to see exactly if Old Man in the Desert actually has something.
Oh boy.
That's something. Yeah, that's something. That was the Moon Pearl hanging out in the desert cave there. So score one for Koi early.
And speaking of which, Mclagging talking to Sashalo there, green pendant, turtle rock.
And of course, immediately after that, that's when you find your ice rod, because you know that it's now probably worthless.
Of course.
All right, and it looks like Koi is now on their way, taking the north route into Kakariko, while Mclagging is going to go into the south route here. Now, big question is going to be is when does Mclagging get out there to get to that pearl? It's still early, but you would rather have that one sooner than later. Last locationing anything, even early at this stage, is going to be an issue for you.
I have a feeling it's just going to come down to, I guess you could say, how risky Mclagging wants to play it, knowing that it is, in fact, a winner's stage matchup here in the tournament. A lot of runners do like to do those kind of different plays, like we saw Koi doing there, going down diagonal fairly early in these tournament matches.
Yeah, Mclagging saw a red boomerang over there on the race game, but decided not to pick it up there. With the new splash deletion glitches and such like that, the red boomerang can be fairly valuable. It's going to be interesting to see if Koi, since Koi's coming from the north to south, if Koi makes a different decision there.
Yeah, that'll be definitely something to keep our eyes on here, see exactly what he decides to do. Down into blind set though, finding a big heart, quarter of a heart, pack of bombs, and then 10 arrows.
A whole lot of nothing so far. There we go.
Don't speak so soon. We found our sword right there in the back behind the bombable wall.
There you go. Commentator's blessing right there.
Yeah, better than the curse, of course.
Oh, for sure. Mclagging jumping into the well. He's going to check out his 5 chests here. First one just gets a 3-pack of bombs, and going into the back, going to pick up a rupee and a heart or 2. 10 arrows. Your power gloves, your boots, and a bottle.
I guess we found where all those items are hiding. That's going to be really nice, since they can now check out Sick Kid while they are in the neighborhood.
Right. Let's see what exactly everybody gets to go. This is one time where this route, Koi is going to gain just like maybe a second of advantage, having gone from north to south, because Sick Kid's going to be on the way, where Mclagging has to take 5 additional seconds to go and check it. Not a big deal, but something there.
And Koi, of course, dropping back down to the well to grab a couple more rupees so he can get his bottle vendor pickup here, which, of course, is absolutely not.
As is tradition.
Him and King Zora must have went to the same business school or something here.
That's the way that you want to do it, though. If if somebody's going to give you money for, what was it, like a piece of heart or something, or something useless, might as well take it, right?
Exactly.
Sick Kid on Mclagging's side here. He's giving us the check, and that's a Master Sword already.
Ooh, boy.
That's interesting. Now, Mclagging does get a little bit of a benefit here. He gets to go check Bonk Rocks in one fluid motion here, where Koi's going to have to probably save and quit to go back there. Routing divergences here. There's such little things, but they can add up so quickly.
And don't forget as well, we do have those power gloves. Oh, tempered sword there in Bonk Rock. But we can take those power gloves and we can actually check the back of escape.
Looks like Mclagging is going to maybe give us a lumberjack check here first, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him and end up going towards Death Mountain from this route. Get that save point up by going and rescuing the old man in the dark, and that's a red rupee?
Yeah, seems to be what it was there.
That was a...
So definitely won't be taking down Aga today for those means. Just depends what the rest of our items decide they want to lay out. And it looks like Mclagging is going up the mountain. We'll see where Koi decides to go from here.
These dark rooms this is one of the first dark rooms that a lot of people learn. It's if you're holding out your sword, and you have a general idea of what it is, you can get through it without too much issue, as Mclagging demonstrates there without even the slightest problem. He's now rescued the old man. He's going to get to find out what exactly he's going to get from that. Just the red rupee and the save point, but he's going to continue up to Spectacle Rock to see what sort of goodies it has. And Koi is right on his tail as well.
Spectacle Rock, just Piece of Heart Rock today on top and inside, so that isn't the answer.
Well, looks like we're going to get that.
We'll be getting that save point.
And on Mclagging's side, he's making his first trip out onto the back of escape here.
And Koi not even bothering to check Spectacle Rock and the save and quit, and I can only assume he's going to do the same play here as well for back of escape. Which is hiding a fire rod and 300 rupees.
And Mclagging's going to show us that back of escape now that he's basically got this part in logic. Now, the way that this works in V31 is if there is a room with pots in it, you can actually go to that spot now. You don't just need the lamp anymore. You can just light the torches, go and check it out right now, the way Mclagging is doing here. He's making his way back to Dark Cross, and we'll get to see what exactly is this item.
And trek through the dark just for 10 arrows, so Dark Cross not hiding the item we're looking for. I believe that is leaving us with Eastern Palace and the front of escape left.
Also, I believe nobody has checked Mini Moldorm Cave yet. So
that's right. Koi went over to Desert and set up on the South Shore.
Right. It's we've still got quite a bit. We're only 11 minutes in here. If you're full clear in the light world and in this open mode, you could be easily 20 to 25 minutes before you get out. That's why that pearl over in the desert can really be a big deal. If Koi finds a hammer quickly before Mclagging, it could put him in a nice advantage early.
Yep, speaking of that South Shore play, it looks like that's exactly where Koi's going. Mini Moldorm. We'll see if he goes to Ice Rod shortly thereafter. Mclagging giving us a look in the front of escape here.
Yeah, so far not a whole lot yet. See if I can make that work twice in a row. Oh man, I'm getting good at that.
Oh,
that is a flute.
Technically doesn't do too much yet. That's just logical access up the mountain where both of our runners have already been. Just closing a logic gap. Meanwhile, Koi finding 300 rupees in Mini Moldorm Cave, that gives him enough to go up to the Zora area, and with that Moon Pearl can also pull off a few fake flipper shenanigans.
That glove does put Zora in logic, so all that extra money is a big help there, as we get a swag net there down in the bottom of Zelda's cell.
Definitely could be interesting to see how that flute plays out with the crystal and pendant layout in the dark. Alright, and Koi's setting up a water walk here. We'll see if he stores it and goes for a flipper, or if he just goes straight for the walk.
A little bit of hesitation on his part there, but gets in there no problem. I think he was maybe thinking the same thing. Should I go and take this all the way to the and do the fake flipper, or fake flipper into a water walk, or just whatever? As Mclagging has freed his duck, and we are now able to move a little bit faster.
Looks like first course of business is South Shore for him as well. Koi getting to the hobo, getting a piece of heart, and saving and quitting out of there.
That's surprising with Zora being in logic and having the Moon Pearl. He could have easily gone into the... he could have easily gone right into the Zora's area there and picked up 3 more items. A water walk is done when you dash along the edge of a pit. It's not overly precise. It's one of those tricks that it seems like, oh my god, how am I going to do this sort of a trick? But it's actually pretty self-explanatory. You just dash on the side of the pit and then jump straight down into the water. You can't jump from the left or the right, or you can't jump up into the water. You have to jump down into the water. Now, how it actually works as far as breaking the game and the code and stuff like that, don't ask me. I just know that it works.
Just know how, don't know why.
Yeah, that's the trick with all of these glitches. Somebody else did it, I repeat it, and it works, and then I go, okay, I guess this is a thing now.
Exactly. Have somebody else break it and then learn how to break it for yourself after they figured it out.
Right, and Mclagging is making his way now over to Ice Rod Cave. He's going to get a little bit of money for himself. It'll be interesting to see if Mclagging will actually go all the way over to Zora.
Interesting thing to keep in mind, though, he does not have his Moon Pearl yet, so it'll be interesting to see what he does with that water walk.
Right, in his case, he doesn't want to check Hobo. If he checks Hobo, that will basically make it so that those 2 items sitting in the waterfall cave are unavailable to him without that Moon Pearl.
Yep, and he's just going right on up to waterfall here.
And see what we got hiding in here. We got 20 rupees and another big pack of 300.
Now, even though it may seem like it, the seed does not take into account how many rupees you have when putting Zora in logic.
Oh no!
Even though the seed is giving you the rupees.
Oh wow, okay. Mclagging kind of got bailed out there. He accidentally bonked into the wall there, but luckily where he fell was on the shallow water, so he's okay. If he had bonked and fallen into the deep water, he basically would have soft locked and not been able to just get this hook shot that Zora is selling today, not a scam fish today.
That's definitely a huge pickup for Mclagging, and that's going to give him East Death Mountain access here. A few more items than Koi will have access to right away.
And unfortunately, Koi not doing the full water walk there, not doing the full fake flipper setup up into Zora is going to cost him a little bit of time now. It's gonna get there eventually, just because Koi's running out of options of other places to go right now. but we'll have to see exactly when he gets there.
Another thing to keep in mind as well will be whether or not we're going to need that Quake Medallion later on. It's just sitting up there on Zora's ledge.
Well, Mclagging at this point is not in a terrible position. The biggest thing that both of these runners need to kind of hope for is that they check other things before they get to go check Eastern, because that's not where they need to go, as Mclagging picks up Hammer and Blue Mail out of a Paradox Cave here. We now have Dark World access. Kind of.
The knowledge thereof, at the very least.
Exactly.
I was just kind of thinking almost one of the worst items Mclagging could find would be that hammer, since that's going to push him closer into Hera instead of Aghanim at this. At the same time, it is the item they do need, so it's kind of a double-edged sword right now.
Yeah, Mclagging is gonna spend some time over here in Pendant Hera. Might see a Hera pot. This could be a very short trip. But this is something that Koi possibly won't do.
Big Key's sitting down there in the basement, so it's not fire locked to get up to the top. It remains to be seen if there is an item, however, sitting in the other part of the basement.
As Koi picks up their hook shot here, and yep, Mclagging is going to go for the nice Hera pot setup, it looks like. And gets it there. Everything's going. He does the bootsless Hera pot setup, and something went wrong.
Not quite on the right pixel.
The Hera pod can be an incredibly finicky thing. It is pixel perfect both sides there. He's using his menu to try to match up there, where you've got the side of your menu on the where you have like one sliver of the outline of the treasure chest. Then you are standing in the right spot. It's not a hard trick to do necessarily, because you can pause buffer it, but it can be really, really annoying, because you can just be constantly like 1 pixel off.
Alright, Mclagging finding the first item here in Tower of Hera, being a full heart, and Koi's making his trips through Paradox, about to pick up his hammer and Dark World access. It remains to be seen if Koi decides to go straight to the Dark World or the rest of the way to Hera here.
And Mclagging takes down Trolldorn without even the slightest issue. He explodes into the Bombos medallion. Well, that explains why he was exploding.
And that's another one that could be big, whether or not we need that to either get into Misery, Turtle Rock, if there's something that could be hiding there. Could end up being a big play, and it looks like Koi might actually be heading the same way since he's up here on the mountain.
Yeah, I understand this play. It's not a overly long commitment to beat Hera, especially since Hera pot is a thing. If you're having to walk up through the dungeon, yeah, okay, that takes a bit of time, but just being able to basically warp up to the top row, and with Tempered Sword, you're gonna beat Moldorm in seconds anyway. You can convince most runners to go do that. Looks like Spiral Cave wasn't much of anything of interest here. Now Koi's using a different setup for the Hera pot here. This is the one that I've actually, if I remember right, I saw Koi like putting a guide out for that one. Gives up on it though.
Mustn't have felt too confident in how he was able to set it out, so instead of wasting more time, let's just take the long way around. Speaking of which, Mclagging actually made his way over to Agnes Cave. Should be grabbing their Moon Pearl very shortly, and that'll be Dark World access.
I kind of wonder if it had something to do with Koi only having 3 bombs and kind of deciding, you know, I don't want to fail this a couple of times and then be missing bombs later. But hard to say. Either way, I'm going to be done in just a second here. Mclagging is going to choose to start in Village of Outcasts, it seems. Gonna have a moment of truth here. Hopefully we're gonna get a map check immediately and we can find out exactly where are the rest of our crystals. We have seen some interesting information already. That is a green pendant turtle rock that we knew. The blue pendant is over on Pod, and a 5 and 6 over on Skull Woods, where Mclagging is going right now.
Yep, having those crystals over there in Skullwoods and Thieves Town definitely something the runners would love to see here. You got all the items to clear both of those dungeons. Join in, jump into the Dark World there by the Village of Outcasts, knock those 2 out, and see what else you get on the way to point you somewhere else.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense from a routing standpoint. You've got the means and the ability to do this stuff. You might as well just do it fast and see if you can get a bit of a crystal lead on your opponent. Because as we know, Hype Cave is hype in name only lately.
And not too often as of late is there much sitting in Hype Cave for you. But it looks like we might get a peek of that very shortly. Koi actually going down towards the Hype Cave route for Dark World access here.
These 2 runners have just decided that we are going to diverge as much as possible.
That is true. Can't blame them though. I mean, like I said, it is the winner's match in the group stages. Got to try to do something different than your opponent or that you don't think they'd be doing just to get that heads up.
It makes sense. I can't fault the plays at all. It's nice to see from a stream standpoint here, just because we get something a little bit different, which is what we want.
This time, however, Hype Cave just having our 2nd bottle of the day, so not too much to speak of there. And Mclagging is starting their fight on Mothula.
Tempered Sword, Blue Mail, a couple of Fire Rod shots means Moldorm explodes into fireworks. Not Moldorm, but Mothula explodes into fireworks pretty quickly. That's Mclagging's first crystal. He's got a 1-0 lead, but not a big deal yet. It's too early for any of that to make any sort of difference.
Yep, just drawing the first blood a little after 26 minutes in. And going back for the rest of the items. Meanwhile, Koi giving us a check over here in the pod area and Pyramid Ledge. Nothing to speak of yet, however.
We are getting an early catfish play, which is something that it can really break open a whole seed. If you find something over here on a catfish, you can be sitting pretty, because this is it's a bear to check. It's an absolute bear to check. There's not a good way to route it in, especially if you've already done Zora. It's just sitting here by itself. So if this has something, Koi's going to be a very, very happy guy.
Agreed, and I'd almost say it kind of fits with the MO Koi's been going with this seed so far, doing a little bit of the riskier plays, being a little more aggressive that you would probably normally see in a larger map.
Yeah, Koi seems to be checking the corners in a lot of way, like made sure that he got the desert cave early. It's these things that there's not really a lot of good ways to get to very easily. And Koi's making sure that those plays aren't the reason he gets caught by his opponent.
Yeah, unfortunately, however, the only one that could have, you could say, paid off was the early play to Agna to grab that Moon Pearl. But it didn't take too much longer for Mclagging to find it right after Koi. And speaking of which, we just found Half Magic hiding in Skull Wood.
And Koi is making their way back into Skull Woods as well, while Mclagging is going to go over here and give us a bumper cave check. Half magic plus all of your rods, you are very much set for the rest of the game. You're set for even a silverless Ganon fight at this point without too much issue. The runners of these caliber, silver arrows are a suggestion. They're a nicety. It's not something that anyone is going to actively look for.
Yeah, definitely not here at this stage of the tournament. Especially since we do have progressive bows now in version 31. The first bow they find will be the regulars. The second one will be the silvers, so there's less of a chance of them just stumbling upon the silvers as there were in previous versions when they were two separate items.
You would think that that would make the bow more likely, but if you've played a lot of V31, you kind of realize that it feels like half the time that a second bow is just sitting there in GT and it doesn't matter.
Pretty much at that point, it's just icing on the cake for the fight.
Yeah. We got a shovel as our first item out of Thieves Town as Mclagging starts making their way through here. 2 items already, having a pretty nice run of it so far, while Koi is working on their way back to the Moth. Not having any problem there clearing out these rooms. Same sort of fight for him with Tempered Sword and a Fire Rod shot, so don't expect Moth to last too long.
Doing a little bit of a dash strat there for his first hit on Mothula. And makes quick work of it, knocking it down. That'll even us up here at 1 crystal apiece.
Now, Mclagging right now working their way through the back of Thieves Town, and as this part doesn't really have a whole lot of interest for the next couple minutes, please, if you have the time and you have the chance, make sure to go ahead and give these runners a follow. They are doing absolute fantastic work here. They've gone very far into this tournament already, and there's a good chance that they're going to be going even further. The winner of this match gets to go on. The winner of this set of matches gets to go down to the bracket stage of 64, while the other one will drop into the loser section, where they have their second chance to make it into the bracket stage. Also, if you can, please go ahead, follow our trackers. Our trackers are to make sure that we actually understand what's going on in this game.
Yep, the person behind the scenes making what we do a lot easier. And not to be stated too, seeing high quality play from both runners. Both made it out of the qualifier stage where we had nearly 300 entrants. We took the top 128 here into the group stages to break it down even further to our bracket. As I mentioned before as well, both of these runners were 1 and 2 seeding in their groups. And not to be forgotten here, Mclagging just finding the Titansmiths there in blind set.
Thieves Down there finally paying off there. We got a somewhat Frenchy vanilla-y mitts, it looks like.
Yeah, about as French vanilla as you can get there.
Right next door, at least.
All right, Mclagging making the way into the blind fight here. See if we can keep it on script no matter what sword or weapon you are using. 3 hits, 3 phases. Definitely something you can keep on script if you get your hits at the same time in the same place each time you fight. First 2 phases, nice and easy. Keeping the whole thing right on script. Down goes blind and Mclagging grabbing the second crystal and a red cane.
Hey, Spy. Got a question
Hey,
for
what?
you.
Hey, what?
How do you feel about Turtle Rock?
Oof, I don't know. I think everything's pointing us that way. Almost betting it's hiding back there as the Bombos as well, too, probably to get.
Yeah, or maybe that Quake. I mean, we can have fun now. Like the
That
runners
we
get to
can.
go do. The runners get to go do fun things. Stealing a cane from a blind
Pendant
person.
Turtle Rock.
Yeah. There's something on the green pendant right now. Oh dear. This could be fun.
This seed just got interesting.
Oh no. Poor runners.
Chat wanting green pendant to have the mirror with the bow and mimic cave. Oof.
You know, if you're going to be here, why not torture the poor people, right? I guess that's the idea. Something like that.
Yeah, thought we wanted to save that for their second seed. Oof. This just is this all of a sudden just turned took a turn for the worse. Digging game giving us red mail, quality of life item. You got it dug up, you may as well grab it while you're there, I suppose. Not what they'll be looking for though.
We've got easy mode activated.
That, and we're getting a world tour for Jeremiah now as well. Alright, Stumpy meanwhile giving us Butter Sword. Oof, we're not really missing too much to make quick work of any of these enemies. Holy smokes, you were talking about easy mode.
Yeah, this is gonna be pretty quick. Now, Koi on the other side there, while we were kind of getting all giddy about the Butter Sword there, found the exact God Pixel there in the Hellway in Thieves Town and just made that look real pretty. Want to give a little shout out to that.
Definitely not something that's easy to pull off there. Quite impressive. Definitely just showing you, once again, the caliber of runners we do have right here.
Wow, now what do you want to do now? So you've got mitts, you've got fire sources, you've got hook shot. Are you gonna climb the mountain? Are you gonna go check out what Mire is? Are you gonna go into Ice Palace and get that additional crystal a little early, even though you might want to save it for possible go mode situation? This world has opened up very quickly for these runners.
That it has. Ice Palace could be a possibility with the fake flipper, but I do know most runners do have an aversion to going there when they're not in go mode, just because it's one of those dungeons that not really friendliest thing to clear.
Yeah, it's such a huge time sink if you go in, find nothing, and your opponent go modes it. It's the difference between something like a 6-minute dungeon versus a 1.5-minute dungeon. It's one of those reasons why people try to avoid it, but it can come back to hurt you by putting that thing off. Still too early though without the flippers, but we'll have to see what we got.
Agreed. I'm almost, however, on the side of saying that the Turtle Rock play might be the way to go, or at least go check and see if it's bombos to get in there, just because of the density of items. But then you also do run the risk that if it isn't bombos, you just kind of climb the mountain for no good reason.
You would, at the very least, you would be able to get the items in the dark side of Death Mountain there. There are 6 items there, plus whatever's on the floating island out there. So you'd get a good rebate on your time. But yeah, it's hard to say exactly what you want to do right now. Mclagging, if he wants, could actually just go and finish out Smith's Chain at the moment.
Looks like what we might be doing here, turning in the Smith, and we'll see what we got here today. And the Smithies are just some pyromaniacs working on making bombs, so nothing really to speak of there. Now we find out where we're going to go to next. And Mclagging looks like he's going right up the mountain. This could be that Turtle Rock play.
Boy is giving us the Hammer Pigs check. I don't think we saw this over on Mclagging's side. I think this is one that he kind of might have missed there. It's easy to do.
Not sure if he grabbed it. I'm pretty sure as soon as he went and got our Smith for the turn and turned around the other way and made his way down towards Hype Cave.
And that little check there didn't get Koi anything, but it's one less thing that he has to think about later. Wasn't interested in getting that piece of heart. But now we're in Super Bunny Cave. We find ourselves a cape and a piece of heart. We have not seen what was on Bumper Ledge, so that cape could actually be worth something right now.
I actually think Mclagging checked it early on when they were going through the Skullwoods check. I think it was just a big 20 hiding up there. So the cape, if I do recall correctly, that's not going to lead us where we want today, unfortunately.
Okay, my mistake then. But did you happen to catch the medallion sitting there on Turtle Rock? Did you happen to see which one that was?
Bombos.
Yeah.
Do we call that a curse or a blessing, since I decided to speak about that a little early?
All I know right now is I'm sitting on this side without the controller in my hand, so I'm okay with it, honestly.
Me too.
All right, but it looks like we're going to get one of the more annoying checks in the game. Spike Cave. The check that you always forget about until the very, 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 very end, and you're trying to remember, wait, what have I left? My case, but
of those one-offs, Koi actually going down to King's Tomb, just finding 300 rupees.
I guess this is the one thing that the cape did give him, and it's, well, a heart container, Not a big deal, but we'll see.
Still kind of under that 10 hard location, just getting their 11th there. Yeah, can't complain, I suppose, too loudly, but since you went into Spike Cave, definitely not what you wanted to see.
Well, so what now, runners? Mclagging is going back, and from what I'm guessing here is this is a purple chest guess, while Koi is doing the Misery Mire check right now. What medallion do we need?
It's Ether today. Could be an interesting play if there's something hiding out in the shed.
All right, so we need Ether, we need Flips, we need Mirror, we need a lot still.
It's still a ways off, and there's nothing that'll give our runners any direction in Mire's shed tonight.
That does eliminate that Quake that was sitting on the waterfall ledge there in Zora's domain. As Mclagging goes to get his purple chest right now, I'm gonna have to save and quit since we don't have a mirror.
Hey, let's see what way Koi decides to take up the mountain. If they're gonna make the gamble that Turtle Rock is Bombos, or if we're gonna go around the other way to grab Super Bunny. He's going right up the mountain. He might be taking the gamble that Turtle Rock is Bombos.
At the very least, Koi is taking the North Turtle Rock portal just in case he can open it, which is probably it's the right play in this case here. It's that siren song there of TR is probably calling to him pretty strong right now. And the moment that he sees it's Bombos, I'm gonna be shocked if he can stay away.
Yeah, with all the items you have Turtle Rock hiding, it's just too much just to leave that there and not go in and grab it. And
At least gonna
especially
open
with
it.
Trinex being that green pendant as well. You know, that's another item that you get out of it.
It's going to be interesting to see if... I would assume Koi's going to go and check Super Bunny, going to go check Hookshot Cave first, and then we'll have to see. It's a bit of a gamble to go there. You've still got Pendant Pod, that could also be your progression as well. How much do you believe that the seed is pointing, or is it just giving you something that you don't need and then letting you fill in the blanks? It's the fun of rando.
Definitely. And I'm honestly on the side, since it was even Bombos to open it up right now, that everything is literally pointing you into Turtle Rock. I honestly feel we're going to find something at the very least up there that'll give us one dungeon, if not two.
I tend to agree. But we'll see. I mean, at this point, you've got everything that you need to go all the way down to Laser Bridge and invest all of that time. So we'll have to see. It looks like both runners are heading that way. Mclagging is right on Koi's tail. They are gonna get in there at a pretty equal time. With all, it's kind of funny with all of the divergence that these two runners have kind of given. They diverge for a while and then they just kind of come back together.
Two separate paths, both to the same destination. We'll see if it works out for him. Oof, Mclagging getting dead rocked there. That's unfortunate.
Those dead rocks are just the worst.
Yeah, those two do seem to catch up runners more often than any other ones here on Death Mountain.
And Koi's gonna go into TR with probably about maybe a 1 floor advantage, as Mclagging takes a little bit of time to open everything up here. This is as equal as you can get at this point.
Definitely both the runners on pretty much equal footing going into the same dungeon, which is Green Pendant Turtle Rock. You know, who'd have thought we'd have seen this play here about 46 minutes?
Yeah, especially with like the moment that we start and they start running in opposite directions. 46 minutes in, almost exactly. Hey, let's both go to the Green Pendant Turtle Rock, because you know that seems like the play that we should make right now. And they're probably right, honestly.
The only question that'll be left to be seen is if we're going to have a mirror here in Turtle Rock, or if we're going to be leaving Mimic Cave for later on.
Well, and it looks like this is going to both of these runners, I assume, are just going to complete the dungeon at this point. I can't see any reason why, if you're already in here, you don't go all the way to Trinex and just beat them up for the Green Pendant at this point. You've come this far. You're not going to be going, oh, I'm on Laser Bridge. I found one thing and I'm not going to finish it. You're gonna complete every single little check you can.
Yeah, that's my feelings exactly, especially since it's that Green Pendant. It might be worth thinking about if it wasn't, but since you are assured that item from that Green Pendant, you know, it might be something, it might not, you know, but it is another item that we do get from completing the dungeon.
That's so far Koi with that slight room advantage there, just kind of showing us that at the moment, doesn't seem to be anything yet. That would be very, very, very mean if it turns out that the answer is actually just Mimic Cave. Everything else is just incidental.
Mimic cave with a mirror buried somewhere else. Yeah, that would that would not be fun.
Boy is going to here, gets to the big chest, gets himself a couple of blueberries, and continues on. We're going to go all the way down to Laser Bridge at this point. There's not a whole lot yet. This is going to make both of the runners unknowingly, not knowing that the other one is doing the exact same thing, probably feel kind of bad unless Laser Bridge shows up and actually has something for him.
You can't help but wonder if they're going to feel behind if neither of them find anything here. But they're not going to know that the other runner did make the same play. It's just part of the fun of us sitting over here on this side of it, getting to watch them and not be the runners this time.
Right, and Koi is now into the out of logic checks there. He's doing the roller coaster room there with no lamp. Difficult room to do once you know how to do it. It's hold left, hold right, hold down, hold left again. So far on Laser Bridge, getting knocked off there before we get to see what's on the next one, but finding a small key. You got one more chest.
Ooh, for them, I means not playing nice for Koi on these last few checks here. Just 10 arrows, so we're left with Trinix and a green pendant for Turtle Rock to actually pay off here. Keep in mind as well, this is all out of logic at this point.
Now, if you're watching this, this is a time where you kind of want to pay attention to little things. You can kind of notice when runners start to get frazzled at this point here, because you'll see something like a miss menu, some of the things that you wouldn't typically see from them here. Speaking from experience, playing in this tournament is nerve-wracking, to say the least. Especially when you're getting to this level where you can punch your ticket into the bracket stage if you're able to win 2 of the next 3 games.
Yeah, and the nerves compounding on nerves and not finding any items in what could have been a risky play here. At this point, you're hoping that the green pendant has.
Yeah, because the dungeon itself was just bait. So we are both runners don't know that the other one has done the exact same thing. So Mclagging going for the 0 cycle there might be a little bit, just a little bit slow on it. It's still getting the single cycle there, so things are pretty good. As we have a moment here as Koi goes and goes and checks the Spike Cave, which unfortunately has not pretty much anything. Do remember to give these runners a follow if you can. They are racing their hearts out there for us, and it would be nice to support them and make sure that they can continue to keep putting on these sort of things here. Give them some incentives.
All right, so after all of our early divergences here, about 53 minutes in, we are about the exact same spot. Now, where do we go?
If you don't go and turn in that green pendant right now, I kind of wonder what you're doing. And Mclagging seems to be doing that right now because you just sunk 5-6 minutes into a turtle rock clear, and yeah, you want to know how much time did I actually lose there? And there's Koi doing the exact same thing.
Ooh.
Oh, no time at all.
That is exponentially dirty right there.
So I'm going to have to call out chat for... There was somebody who was calling that mirror in TR there. You, sir, we need to have a talk afterwards.
On behalf of these runners, that's not nice, especially now if we have Mimic K with something.
Oh man, that's yeah. That at this point, that's the worst possible location for the runners, because at what point do you make that call? At what point do you even think that that's a that's an option still?
I personally would probably be the one that would straight up last location that, because that's not a fun climb in the ways into Turtle Rock that you want to do just for one shot.
Oh, I think you and probably 99.99% of runners would do the same thing. I don't see any reason you're like, oh, it's in Mimic Cave. Well, I'm not going back there. No, I refuse, just on moral grounds. I'm not going back there.
Yeah, at this point, that would just hurt.
Oh, we are still missing quite a few items here. Now, one things that we know, flippers and ether are the two things that we're to find on PED if this is one of those seeds, because at this point both runners have 2 pendants. This could be one of those seeds. It's starting to, at this point you have to start questioning, is it one of them?
Yeah, we're quickly running out of checks here. There's not too much left to do. Mclagging has given us this look into the desert, but hasn't found anything there. Koi looks like we're going back into the dark world. You got to start wondering at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're 55 minutes in and you have exactly the same number of pendants as you do crystals, you're starting to think that things might be screwy. Now, it's still early. Like, without a bow, PED is kind of an early discussion here. Mclagging's making his way through desert, but he hasn't really found anything. He's going to get at least his 3rd crystal. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's not on the runner's mind here. Gold sword plus your fire rod. That's taking down those landmo there pretty quickly. He's rewarded with a map and grabs another crystal.
At the very least, now it gives Mclagging a 3-2 crystal advantage. But still, it still can't really say if one runner is ahead of the other runner by too much here, since we're on the hunt for quite a few items at this point.
Yeah, this lead could change very quickly if Koi happens to find something. Now, one thing to Mclagging's advantage is that he's doing things that are new. Koi's gotten 2 mirror checks here on him and has found the powder in one of them. That's something that opens up yet another one-off location now. while Mclagging is kind of making his way into Pendant Pod. It's starting to see feel like something's probably in here, because I can't think of anywhere else that it would be.
Or for all we know, too, that bow could be sitting at the front of Eastern Palace. I mean, you do have the mirror. You could just as easily mirror over there and check it. And see if you do have that bow hiding there before going into pod. We'll see very shortly whether or not we're actually bow locked here.
And it looks like we are not actually bow locked, so we get to continue on.
Meanwhile, on the other side, Koi is taking that powder, and we're going to get a turn-in on that right away. I'm actually kind of liking this play. The number of items we're looking for, you do find another fetch quest. It's definitely worth turning it in, I feel.
And he curses us today with bombs. Thanks, Batty. Have a good day.
And unfortunately, not the item you're looking for on that one.
And Mclagging is not finding anything so far in the front of Pod here, but that should not come as a surprise to anyone, because if there's something in the front of Pod tends to have more things in the back.
Yep, all business up front, all party in the back. Usually you'll have a higher density of items back.
Okay, now it looks like we're gonna see a quick little camera unlocking glitch here. Again, one of the easier glitches that you can do here. He's unlocked the camera, gonna walk those mimics off the screen. Game thinks they're dead. Then he just got to reestablish his camera position, and he is good to go. And look over on Koi's screen. Gee, it looks like he's doing the same thing.
And this is just insane at this point. With that early divergence we got, that we're still, retracing all of our steps, doing the same stuff. But, like you said, looking for that same handful of items, there's really not much else you can do at this point.
Yeah, and we're down to 3 items that are still in logic in this dungeon right now. They're gonna clear everything, but there are only the 3 items that are in logic. You've got this one chest here. I believe want to say map chest or something. Then you've got the 2 items in the basement down here because of the fire rod. He lights those torches. Congratulations, these chests are now in logic. So that's a big key and a small key. Okay, so that gives us 1 more chest that's now in logic. And down here in the Harmless Hellway. And oof. So, head hype?
I would almost say at this point, you may as well just finish this dungeon.
Yeah,
I'm feeling a blind pull now. That bow is just hiding in too good of a spot to not do it.
Yeah. We're getting somewhere now. Kind of wonder, is that lamp just sitting there in the front of Eastern, and all of this is still there? Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's a very good argument to be made for just leaving right now and going to do Eastern Palace and seeing what you get out of this first. Because you're not going anywhere. You're not wasting any time by doing this. And that is exactly what Mclagging is doing here. It's a smart, good play, because say you come back to Eastern Palace back here and you find something important, things up for you. And Eastern, don't forget, is a Pyramid Fairy crystal. We've already got the other one, so decisions to be made here for both runners. This is kind of an awkward situation there.
Yeah, just one of those times where it puts the runners in an interesting situation. Just lets you know how each one wants to route their seeds. It could pay off, or like we've been kind of thinking, there could be something hiding on Ped. But being that 5/6, you do get access to another 2 items once you do clear Eastern.
Now, it's going to be important to see. Now, I wasn't really paying attention to the first 2 chests there in Eastern. Did we get the big key?
I believe we did.
And we are in logic for Eastern right now. In that case, I would tend to avoid finishing pod until you get lamp, because the game is not pointing you right there quite yet.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good point. Without that lamp, it's not in logic, which means no Ped quite yet.
I mean, it really feels like it is. And to be honest, to go back and review, the logic for this seed has been crazy. Like, you had to go do a pendant Hera to go get a Bombos medallion, to open up Turtle Rock, walk all the way through Turtle Rock and get nothing, seemingly, to get your green pendant, to go get your mirror.
Which,
I mean,
of
that's
course,
just me.
is needed for that Swamp Palace play, and it's the logic forcing them through 2 pendant dungeons just to get one of their crystals out of the way is it's definitely not playing nice.
Mclagging there taking the safe route and going all the way around to the big key chest to see if there's something there. Without it being in logic, Koi could save some time if Koi feels like gambling. But from what I've seen, I would be surprised if Koi does that. It seems to be playing kind of safe today.
Very safe, very methodical, making sure he doesn't miss a single check or a single one-off, especially with all those turn-ins he's been getting. Like we saw when he grabbed that powder, he went to turn that in fairly fast. And he's sticking with that mind of thinking. He's going right to the back rooms and not leaving a chest unturned.
And Mclagging sets up his Armos Knights there, gets the first 5 shots in as they come around, and that is how you do a quick kill with the Ohio Lamp.
Wow.
Okay, so remember what we were saying about pet hype. I think it's time to get interested in that again. Wow. Okay, so Mclagging is going right back into pod because...
Yeah, that's where I'd definitely go straight away at this point too. That was kind of dirty.
Wow. I kind of feel like I should have had a more exciting call to that, but it was just more like, you're kidding me, right?
That's the safe state. I still can't believe that was high in there. That's wow.
Yeah. Well, chat, you might get your wish today. This is what everybody always wants to see. We'll have to see what we get here real fast. This is Mclagging missing 1 shot there on the red mimics. Seems to probably kind of be in the same state of disbelief that your commentators are at the moment, but
yeah. I mean, and let's keep in mind too. I mean, that lamp all of a sudden puts the Turtle Rock clear in logic. So the logic wanted you to go back and get Armos out of the way, then go back up and get the Turtle Rock green pendant to make the trip back down to get your mirror.
Unfortunately, Koi missing the Armos Knight's quick kill here. I think he's going to try to go for... almost tried to go for a kind of a backup strat there. Okay. And moving on here as Mclagging works his way through a very nicely done turtle room there. And we get to go and see what does Helma have for us today. Oh, Koi fluting away and not going back to finish pod.
He hasn't done the Desert Palace play yet. That could be what's on his mind right here. Jumping in the desert and see if there's that item hiding in there.
Oh, that's dangerous because you're never going to be closer to pod at that than you were at that point,
Oh,
especially
boy.
when he had your flippers the entire time. Oh, that's a killer.
Oh my. So to get into Swamp Palace, you needed to both clear Turtle Rock and Pod.
So we're looking at it's probably not a pedestal seed at this point, but almost an oops all dungeon seed.
Wow, that's extremely evil.
You had to beat all 3 pendant bosses. All 3 pendant bosses were holding items, basically. I mean, Trinex was holding a green pendant, which led to an item, but
to get in there, you needed to clear out Tower of Hera for the medallion, and we're still alive with the ped, but it's kind of on life.
It's on life support. Yeah, sorry. Let's be honest here. Like these runners, they're gonna go clear out Swamp, and then they're gonna clear out Ice Palace. If you find the book before Ice Palace, or actually at this point, why would you even bother? You could just blind pull. Yeah, I'm sorry. The seed has fried my brain. I'm not even running it.
Definitely. Finding the book would also open those tablets for them too.
Oh gosh, I think finding the book would be even worse then, just because you would open the tablets and then go, okay, so do I have to go do that now?
And none of those 3 checks would feel good at all, being served well away from one another. I think the best you could hope for if you get a book is for it to be sitting in Swamp, just so you can turn around and grab that Bombos tablet before you get too much farther away.
Very true. You don't want to get too far away from that Bombos tablet. It's another one of those checks that it doesn't feel like it takes that much time, but it does actually take that much time. And again, there's also still that Mimic Cave just sitting there taunting the runners right now. At this point, any single location. This is not an Ice Rod hunt. It's an Ether Medallion hunt, which is completely the same. But,
pretty much.
You know, different item.
Different item, same feel. It doesn't feel good here.
So Mclagging is going to just move straight to the back here. You're 1 item away from go mode. You're just going to go for this right now. There's no point for you to sit around and go left side unless you absolutely know that it's over there.
Yeah, you got 4 checks down here. There's the odds are more or less in your favor going to the back row.
Now, Koi, does look like he's going to go do some Fat Fairy checks here. He's going to go check your Pyramid Fairy, and he's going to see see if that's where our Ether Medallion is hiding. Mclagging on the other side is coming up empty.
I mean, just with the locations of the one-offs that are left all in the middle, just about nowhere at this point, it's still hard to say if one runner's ahead of the other. We do have a little bit of an advantage with more dungeons cleared on Mclagging's side, but if Koi happens to stumble upon that Ether Medallion in one of these spots before Mclagging ever gets there, it could get really interesting really fast.
Yeah, this is one of those times where you almost... Mclagging still does have a pretty decent advantage, because even if Ether is here, I wouldn't be surprised if this is Mclagging's next check, because you're at Swamp, you're gonna just come on straight on in here. It's 2 spins on Argus there with the gold sword. He explodes into a bunch of pretty lights, gets a blue cane for his troubles. I don't believe there were any sort of... Did I see any dungeon items in...
I believe
Left side
that
might
was
be
just
dead.
the big key.
Yeah, and he opened that chest. I think that was a God Swamp.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, that was a God Swamp. Wow. Well, okay. Now, Mclagging's still got a couple of overworld checks left. This is where Koi kind of has an advantage, as both runners are kind of having a hundo right now. Koi went ahead and did a lot of these overworld checks earlier, so he's got K45 here, which has powder, which leads to nothing. He's got... he's gonna have probably go to Graveyard Ledge as well, which has nothing. Mclagging will get to pull our ped, though. Mclagging, go back and pull the ped. No. Oh.
No,
Come
looks
on,
like it's
man.
gonna be a bomb instead.
Okay, so Mclagging, I'm gonna try that again. So he's gonna go do this. Man, I don't know. Yeah, he's either gonna go. He's gonna be going into. I imagine he'll go into Ice Palace after this. I feel like that's the way he goes. I don't know if he goes Ped to Graveyard Ledge, or a Graveyard Ledge to Ped probably. That's an option. He's going for the bomb dupe though. Let's see if he gets this. Oh, a little early. Goes back, and there's your bomb. As long as you can screen transition as it hits 0, the bomb will just magically reappear at your side. The window for it is surprisingly large. Like, it looks like, oh my god, how are you going to do it? You actually can get through pretty easily.
So he grabs nothing out of the Pyramid Fairy check. We're pulling out the flute. Is this going to be a 3?
Oh, it's a 3.
Boy, here we go.
All right, chat, you've been waiting for this all day. Get your pet hype in check. We are pulling this thing. Is it going to be Ether, or are we just going to sit here and laugh?
I mean, we can hope for their sanity. It's Ether at this point, and that's not hiding up there on Mimic. I mean, the way this seed's going, I wouldn't put it past it to be even more trolly now.
This has been nuts. All right, here we go. He gets a piece of heart.
Oh boy.
I mean, that's it. And on Koi's side there, Koi finally is picking up their flippers from Helmasaur. Well, into Ice Palace we go, I guess.
Oops all dungeons,
Oh,
but
man.
not a ped, so nothing pays off extra
Yep.
for Kamal.
Wow, this seed is just, I mean, okay, kudos to the runners. You're an hour and 20 minutes in to this seed, and you have completed this much with these locations being available to you. I mean, this is some very, very high class, high skill level running here. Again, do give these guys a follow if you get a chance here. Mclagging makes his way down into the very first Pengator room, gives him a couple of quick slashes, boxes, and gets a key, which means we're not hookshot locked out of this dungeon, which would be an issue if we hadn't picked up the hookshot in the first, like, 20 minutes. Well,
I think this might be an accidental 100% here. We've seen pretty much just about every item at the way it worked.
yeah, at this point, so Fat Fairy's, the Pyramid Fairy's gone. We've got the, still looking for Ether, and it's here, or it's, what else do we have? Is Mimic Cave the only other thing that we have left outside of this?
Not quite sure. It very well could be.
I'm
seen
racking
Floating
my brain
Island.
right now. I
Did
think
get
we
two
did
items
see
in Hera.
Floating Isle.
Floating Island, I believe, is a bottle, if I recall. We did get 2 items out of Hera. I mean, we could find the book somewhere, which could lead us on another wild goose chase. Or not.
No, at this point, yeah, I think everything's checked. We've done checkerboard. We've done everything else.
That's a big never mind. We find our Ether Medallion hiding out in Ice Palace, and that is go mode for Mclagging an hour and 20 minutes into this so far very, very trolly. Here in the 9th hour, it decides to be a little bit nicer.
Yeah, luckily for him, there he gets it right there, so he can just go directly, effectively go mode the rest and just walk right down here to our little friend Cold Stare, who, sword. Let's just put it that way. Watch. 1, 2, 3, 4, done.
So that'll be crystal number 6 for Mclagging. Easily enough to say that we do have quite a bit of a lead on his side. Should be seeing a mirror and a flute over to Misery Mire very shortly for another go.
Yeah, we are, yeah, we're pretty much getting all set here. Quick Misery Mire, we can hope for a God Mire. Mclagging is just absolutely showing the seed who's boss at this point. If I'm not mistaken, that looked like it was a spooky setup there, doing the early spooky setup, so hopefully he can even move even faster through this first section.
I think the burning question at this point is, are we going to get a burb toss?
Do it. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. Yay! He did it.
Or a carry.
All right, let's see here. How does Mclagging do with Mire 2 here? Is he going to get the nice, beautiful one cycle? That... Oh, hey. Oh, Popo. Okay, that was almost perfect. That is exactly the way you want to do this. Koi is making their way.
It's skip the first
as
check
we
here.
speak.
Skip the first chest on his first gun, his initial way down, hoping to find that ether medallion on the He's finding that big key, which will give him one more check in here. Unfortunately, we do know that that is not the item he's looking for. But if you're Koi at that spot, this just has to feel like the play. You don't want to leave these behind with as safe as you've been playing.
Yeah, it looked like Koi was going for a bit of a gamble there, and ends up costing himself probably a good additional 20 seconds here, as we got the Godmire in Misery Mire. Mclagging is going to be all done with this dungeon pretty quick. Dust there before laying down the blocks. Spooky action glitch should be all set up. Let's see, double check here in a second. Oh. There you go.
Yep,
Spooky action at a distance. Probably the best named of all of our things. Sorry there.
Definitely. It's just another one of them awesome glitches where you're just essentially overloading the game into thinking it's doing something that it really isn't quite yet. Gotta love that early 90s programming.
And with that, that's going to be our 7th crystal. So, you know what time it is?
I think it's time to guess where we got ourselves a big key.
Yeah, we're getting those numbers into chat as we speak right now. Spy Weaver, what would you be thinking our big key is at today?
I gotta go with my good old-fashioned number of 14. It gives us a little bit of a dive into GT. It could be in multiple different locations. Well, that number never seems to fail me. How about you?
That's a good number right there. I think that one, a couple of different ways there. That's like Torch, it's Rando Room, a couple of other different ones. I'm gonna go with, you know what? Let's give these runners a break. How about good old number 2?
I don't know if the seed's gonna be that nice. We are just a few short moments from getting that entrance into Ganon's tower. Meanwhile, Koi making quick work here through Ice Palace, nailing his bomb jump a little bit earlier. See if he gets the Pen Gators down in a slash. Not quite, still making good time. Alright, here we go, a few short dashes away. Small cutscene with some spinning crystals, and Mclagging will be entering Ganon's tower.
And Koi is making their way, is also now in go mode as well. Picked up their ether medallion and is making their way down to the cold stare fight as we speak.
Alright, and here we go. Mclagging starting off to the right in Hope Room.
Number 1, just your compass. Number 2 is your... Oh, that's a book. Well, alright. I guess I lose.
Not quite today. Make our trip around to the left side. We got a small key on the torch, and we'll be saying goodbye to... Well, over on Koi's side, a nicely executed cold stare fight. That is crystal number 6. Should be seeing Koi entering Misery Mire here very shortly. As we know, that is a Godmire, the best case scenario for him at this point.
Fortunately for Koi, just a few minutes behind as he picks up silvers, as Mclagging picks up silvers here in the Stalfos room, and is moving on for the rest of the dungeon, deciding against the new meta Dark Magician route, just going to go straight to the back.
Yep, and just when you didn't think that Ganon fight would be getting any easier, as we talked about earlier, there's your second bow just kind of hiding out there, and Ganon's.
As is tradition, it's almost always there. If you find silvers early, you kind of sit there and look at the game for a minute and go, wait, are you sure? Right, Mclagging making his way to the Fire Snake room. Finds himself a little bit of a lag shield. Boy, doing great work on Meyer too in there as well. The execution again, it's just doing fantastic on both of these runner sides. Biggest thing for Koi just was Mclagging decided to go and finish pod, and that bought him quite a couple of minutes there.
And we're up to
there in a bottle. Oh.
So we do
Still
have
no big key. Yours is coming up next, isn't it?
That it is. Well, I guess that's one way to get over that warp pad.
Yeah, it's always kind of a nice thing when you accidentally don't set up the bonk quite right, and that beetle just follows you right up there and just says, hey, let me help you.
Let me just give you a little bit of a nudge here.
Just a little nudge, and you're good there.
14 just a pack of rupees. 15, 16, and 17 coming up. Koi getting the spooky action as well on his side. Still making nice work of this Misery Mine.
Get a little Armos on Knights action right here. Lagging kind of getting bullied a little bit there, but gets through without too much problem after getting jumped on a few times. Red Mail not really making any difference, not really letting that hurt at all. And there's your big key, sitting there in the back. That was chest number
17, I believe.
17?
See there what we got. Lady Tyra, the first one to get 17 in the chat. Congratulations.
All right, Koi just finished off Vitreous there. He's going to be making his way up to GT. He's going to, unfortunately, not really have any way to make up a whole lot of time in GT with the key being in the back there. He's going to need Mclagging to make a couple of mistakes on the gauntlet. One more time here before we start the gauntlet and get to watch all the fun execution. If you can, do give these runners a follow. They have been putting on just an absolute show tonight on a really unfriendly seed. Also, if you can, follow the trackers, follow everyone. Volunteer if you want to. This whole operation runs off of people's help. And Mclagging is starting up his gauntlet there, and first two rooms have gone very quickly. Moving through the blue Zazak room very quickly, getting into the red one. Two quick swipes there, just absolutely blitzing this right now. It is just running through like nobody's business right now.
Making great work of all these rooms, making it look a lot easier than it is. It is definitely very difficult to have this great of execution up these floors. I mean, it goes without saying, both of these runners at an hour and 30 minutes in have cleared every single dungeon in the game, and we are in Ganon's Tower, so that just goes to show you just how good both of these runners are.
It's it's a good thing to, it's a great thing to watch when you see somebody of this high level doing that. As soon as I say that, Mclagging messes up one of the one of the most satisfying rooms in the game, getting a couple of rage slashes there to on the other side.
Over on Koi's side, looks like starting off doing the hope room first as well, and we'll be going off to the left. Let's see if we get a full left play, or if Koi does in fact decide to go for that Dark Magician.
In Koi's case here, you want him to make either a full left or a full right play. You don't want him to do the kind of like half Dark Magician that a lot of people have been doing lately. At that point, unknowingly, he'd just be dropping a few more seconds. It's not over yet, but Mclagging does have a large advantage at this point. Not even stopping to pick up any of the items in the pre-Moldorm 2 room, just going straight through. Has no interest in the last chest, and he is just on to Aga 2 here in just a moment.
And despite only being an hour and 34 minutes in here, you did clear every single dungeon. It's got to kind of be in the back of your mind that, you know, even though you had to do it, you know, where is my opponent? My opponent has to be very, very close.
Never feel good coming in at this rate, trying to figure out exactly where is my opponent, like how, like at what point do I just kind of check SRL, check my window here and see where exactly they are. You're all the way up the tower, you're probably checking, just going, am I done? Am I done? Am I done? Takes down Aga 2, and it's time to play a little bit of hide and seek with Ganon.
We're going through a rando room, getting his third bottle and mushroom. Looks like we'll be continuing. Hopefully he stays full on this path. Should be getting his big key very shortly.
Mclagging jumps down into the Ganon fight. Butter Sword, silvers. Only downside, 4 hearts right now, but should be just fine here. Phase 1 goes down without any problem here. Starts phase 2. A couple more sword swipes here. Uses the hookshot invulnerability to go ahead and get through there. And it's got to dodge a couple of fire bats now.
Takes a hug from one of them. Quickly down into phase 3, however, for more slash. Soon into the final phase.
And Ganon not wanting to stay still quite yet.
While Koi picking up that big key, will be making his climb very shortly. And Mclagging not quite getting the torch glitch, but gets a triple.
Woo! That was nice.
Who needs a torch glitch when you can hit a triple like that? 1x3 bridge, all that separates Mclagging from taking on game 1. There it is. Get your GGs in chat, folks. Mclagging crossing the bridge in first with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 54 seconds.
GG's Mclagging. Just an absolutely fantastic run there. All dungeons cleared outside of Aga 1 in an hour and 36 minutes there. A beautiful triple to finish the game. Just put a nice little exclamation point on everything. Koi is making their way up the rest of the GT tower now. It's making their way into the gauntlet. We do have game 2 of this race coming on in just a few minutes. It is scheduled to begin in, I want to say, about 20 minutes from now. So I don't know if we will be having any of the runners in for an interview here.
Game 2 does take place right here on the very same channel very soon once they're done with this first game.
Boy, having a little bit more trouble with land mode 2 here. This could very easily just be a product of having your opponent done. You kind of let down just a little bit for a minute just because it's over. But oh, and that. Oh, okay. Just kind of standing there for a minute, kind of wondering what he's doing.
Just been thinking about it there for a little bit. Guess he's figuring we're this close, we may as well just go ahead and either get a little bit of practice in and finish her out.
I mean, how many? To be honest, in V31, how often do you actually have gold sword and silvers when you're fighting Ganon? You might have forgotten how to do it. Or okay. Yeah, it looks like probably some typing going on in the IRC client right there.
Yeah, gotta be a little bit of something. To be fair, though, I mean, Koi's time is still fairly decent given it is an all-dungeon seed. He has had very good execution with all of his bosses. I mean, it's not saying that this was a blowaway by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I mean, the big decision for Koi came down to when he decided to flute away from Pendant Pod there. Because it was a completely understandable decision there. You had Desert open, you had the Pyramid Fairy had just opened up as well. You only had one item on Helmasaur. I mean, completely understandable to make that decision. Unfortunately, Rando got a Rando. It got him.
This is just one of those situations where that just didn't happen to be the right play, and there's really not much you can do about it. It does look like, however, the runners have started their second game, so we won't be getting an interview. So we can save up all those questions for after the second. As Koi makes his final treks up the tower here, he's got a geometry test between himself and a date with the Big Pig. Yeah, same channel, just here very shortly. These runners will be doing game 2 of this group stage match. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure you don't go anywhere, because I'm sure it is bound to be yet another good one if this race was, any indication.
Yep, we'll be signing off for that. You're going to be, for game 2, it looks like you're going to be having Ninban and Zyrak here in the booth. We got, since Mclagging has taken game 1, we'll have to see. I don't know if there's been any changes made to the second game on Koi's side. Setting changes, I mean. Taking a look right. Doesn't say, unfortunately.
I didn't see any talk in the IRC about it, so Not entirely sure, but we can assume it might just be a little bit of the same here. So we got Koi going in here with his Ganon fight already into phase 2. Just another little miracle of that Butter Sword making quick work of him.
Taking a couple of fire bat shots, but with red mail, I mean, they do 2 hearts. Koi's not overly worried about it.
Quickly on to phase 3. He's got one more hit, and just like that, we're into phase 4.
One nice silver arrow there gets Ganon set up for a double in the middle, and that is number 4 right into Ganon. He's gonna give us some fireworks and get your GGs in chat for Koi there finishing. I don't have that up right now. As he finishes the seed, a little bit behind Mclagging, but GG's into Koi.
He crosses the bridge, grabs the try for second place in this match. Official SRL time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 47 seconds. So once again, get your GGs there for both runners. Definitely a good showing by both of them. It was not a friendly seed. But still finishing it in the times that they did with all dungeons minus AGA 1. Still very, very impressive.
Yeah, no, this has been a heck of a lot of fun to watch there. Just the logic in this seed was brutal. Anytime that you're required to complete all of the pendants, but not for the pedestal, this is a unique seed. Let's just say that much here.
Very much so. You had to clear out Tower of Hero so you could get access into Turtle Rock. You had to clear that out for no items. Get your green pendant. Get the mirror first. Swamp Palace. The Flipper's hiding in Pendant Pod. It was not fun and not friendly at.
Oh, yeah. Bombos on your Moldorm. Bombos to open your Turtle Rock. Green pendant to get your mirror. And then don't forget, you got to go finish your Helmasaur as well. Is just a beast.
That's for sure. And of course, the ped just hiding a piece of heart. I mean, when you think you got it all figured out, the last item you're looking for your go mode for both runners actually was the Ether Medallion. That was hiding in Ice Palace. I mean, I don't know what else this seed could have really thrown at him.
Just a mess. I mean, the nice thing about it is that it gave you early boots, you got early swords, you got red mail pretty much up front. So like you didn't have to necessarily worry about dying or any sort of difficult fights against any of the bosses. Everything was going to be pretty straightforward. Your challenge this time was going to be, hey, where are these goofy items that nobody knows? It's man, it's been a rough time for these guys here. I hope they're going to be okay for game 2. Word is fast Ganon. I guess we'll have to see.
And I can definitely say without a doubt, this is one of those where I'm glad I was on this side and I wasn't running this, because the curveballs it threw you, and the items it was giving you when it did. I mean, it was even leaving us, speechless at that.
Oh, that good old lamp. That thing was that was just a moment where you just felt you really can't be serious, right? Is this really what we're going for?
I mean, you wanted yourself another item that gave you something, not the item that closed all the logic loops that you had pretty much skipped early on, and it wasn't what they were looking for definitely at that point.
Good news as far as all of this goes is that we didn't end up needing to go back to Mimic Cave. which was looking like it could have been an option there for a minute.
Yeah, for a while we almost had that dream that somebody in chat called early on a mirror on that green pendant, something hiding in Mimic Cave. That would have been almost the most dirty thing you could have absolutely hoped for in a seed. And I don't even know how I would have handled that, even running or even up here. That was the literal definition of last location in dirty seed.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if I was running something like that, I think my internal monologue right now would have just been a constant scream. Just like, you really can't be doing this to me, can you? Luckily, it was just sitting there in Ice Palace, and we didn't have to really go anywhere else. Because after Ice Palace, I guess that was the only possible location that that the runners had left in my knowledge here. Looking at Mclagging's screen, he only did a 165 out of 216, which is kind of surprising, honestly. It felt more, but it always does, you know?
For sure. And we did also know where that last bottle was. We did know where that Quake medallion was. We saw both of them sitting out there. So it's not like we didn't have any items or had any unknown items. They were sitting there out in plain view for us to see on both. With that being said, I mean, you have any last thoughts here on this seed day?
I guess the biggest thing is I'm glad that I was commentating it and not playing this seed. Let's just say that much.
Yup. Definitely right there on that one with you. It definitely wouldn't have been a fun one to play by any stretch of imagination, but at the same time, it allowed both of our runners just to show us just how well they can execute all the little intricacies here in this game. But I think it looks like we are just under 10 minutes away from round 2 of this same matchup going live. That will be it for all of us. I'm Spyweaver signing off. Catch you guys next time.
I'm Dazed Cloud. You're going to be joined in just a minute for Game 2 by Ninban and Zyrak. We're going to leave it to them. Everybody, you have a great night.